All right, how are you guys doing? This is April 27th through May 1st. Remember, my assignments are due at 3 p.m. on Friday, so some of you guys need to do a better job of getting started earlier. And also make sure you're actually watching the videos and trying to learn as I'm teaching this to you, because I can tell some of you guys did the assignments but didn't do it the way I explained in the video. So hopefully this one's short and sweet, and what I'm gonna do, it's okay if you don't have this worksheet, okay? I'm gonna circle the problems that I want you to do, and you can do this on notebook paper. So for example 1, what we're gonna learn how to do is solve an equation. So notice this says x squared plus 4x plus 3 equals 0. You can't really get x by itself, but what we could do is we could graph the parabola. Here's the parabola, and we can find when it equals 0. Okay, and you might be kind of confused by this. When does this graph equal 0? It is anywhere along the x-intercept. So this parabola equals 0 right here and right here. Those are the two times it equals 0. So there's actually two solutions. X could equal -3 or x could equal -1. All right, and hopefully that makes sense, but you have to be able to graph it first to be able to find the solutions. So I'm gonna review with you guys how we graph and how we find the vertex when it's in standard form. All right, there's our A, B, C. Negative B divided by 2 times A. So this is A, this is B, this is C. So negative B instead of positive 4 would be -4 divided by 2 times 1 is 2, and that's -2. And again, last week I wanted you guys to draw in that axis of symmetry. So you go to left 2 and you draw in the axis of symmetry. That's where you find your vertex. Your vertex is going to be at -2, -1. Again, you can use Desmos to help. And then you kind of keep finding points, and then you can graph those points to make your parabola. But again, what we're concerned about are where this parabola equals 0, and those are the two answers you're going to write on the line. Notice this parabola, when it got graphed, it only hit the x-axis one time. All right, so the solution to this would be x equals 3. That's it. That's the only time that this parabola hits the x-axis. Now, I know you guys have seen parabolas like this. Let's say we have a parabola and it looked like this. The answer to this would be no solution. There's no times when this parabola hits the x-axis, and we might see some of those. Okay, so these 3 questions, I'm going to do these 2 with you, and this one right here, you're going to need to turn in as an assignment. So you're going to need to show your work to graph this problem, x squared minus 4x plus 5 equals 0, and then down here show me what your solutions are. So again, this is what I need to see for you guys to get credit. Your negative b over 2a. So a is 1, b is 7. So that'd be -7 divided by 2, and that's -3.5. That's our axis of symmetry. So I'm going to go -3.5. Okay, and then you could use Desmos if you want to find where this vertex is. So if I go into Desmos, and I'll show you guys my graph here in a second. It's being slow. Okay, so I went ahead and typed this equation, x squared plus 7x plus 12, and remember how we just showed our work and found the axis of symmetry is at -3.5, so I also typed that in. So now you guys can see the parabola and the axis of symmetry, and I can click on my vertex, and it's at -3.5, and it's only down below a little bit, -0.25. Now on the parabola, it should let you click on these x-intercepts, so we can also put those numbers on our graph as well. So this is going to be really helpful, and we already have our answer from Desmos. And you guys feel free to use Desmos too, but you need to show your work on your paper. So -0.25, so it's just kind of like the vertex is just a tiny bit below that line. And we saw from Desmos -4,0 and -3,0 are the places where this hits the x-axis. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my parabola. I didn't do a very good job. But then down here, we're going to write our answers. Our answers are the 2 places where they hit the x-axis. X equals -4, x equals -3. Remember, we're solving an equation. We're using our parabola to solve an equation. Okay, so you guys are going to have number 3. I'm just going to skip this one. You guys have to do number 3. So show your work, show your vertex, and then, but make sure you circle your answers down here. Okay, I think you guys are going to like the back of the worksheet better. I'm going to first show you the problems, and then I'm going to record the rest of my video with the help of Desmos. So let's see. What we'll do together is numbers 1 and 4. We're going to do together, and that means your assignment is 2, 3, 5, and 6. So I'm going to zoom in on this so you guys can see those problems a little bit better. And that's what we're going to do together. Or we're going to do 1 and 4 together. 2, 3, 5, and 6 will be your homework. So the homework that you need to submit will be number 3, following the directions I did in my video, and number 2, 3, 5, and 6, following the directions that I'm going to give in the next part of the video. All right, so I'm going to show you guys a special situation, and this happens a lot in real life parabolas. So our original problem is x squared equals 3x plus 5. That's kind of an issue. We want it to say equals 0. So what I did is I rewrote the problem here, and then do you guys remember how we talked about jumping over the bridge? This 3x becomes negative, and this 5 becomes negative, and now it says equals 0. Okay, and they've graphed the problem here, but if you look real close, it's hard to tell exactly where this crosses the x-axis. It's close to 4, but it's not exactly 4. So if this happens, we are allowed to use Desmos to estimate, and notice it says to the nearest tenth. That's one number after the decimal. So I've gone ahead and typed in that equation, x squared minus 3x minus 5, and I would like you guys to show your vertex. So you can click on the vertex and Desmos will find it for you. Okay, but then here we want to find when this equals 0. And notice how they're decimals, and we're going to round to the nearest tenth. So should we write negative 1.1 or negative 1.2? This would round to negative 1.2 and also 4.2. So on our paper, what you can do is you can circle those answers. This one would be x equals negative 1.2. And again, we got this from Desmos. And x equals positive 4.2. So the back of this page, notice it says you may use Desmos for these because all of these are going to cross at a weird spot. It's not going to be exactly at a perfect, like x equals 5 or something like that. So x squared plus 7x plus 9, I have this typed into Desmos, but I just have to click on it and get rid of my green one. So here's our parabola. Again, let's mark our vertex and then our 2 answers. Okay, so I'd like you guys to draw the graph. So our vertex is at negative 3.5. Let's just kind of estimate negative 3.5 and negative 3.25. So there's my vertex. And then let's go ahead and draw on our axis of symmetry. And this crosses at negative 1.7. Again, just estimate that. And negative 5.3. Once you have those 3 points, draw in your parabola. It should look like a U-shaped graph. Try not to make it look like a V-shaped graph. And then our answers, again, are these 2 places where it crosses the x-axis. X equals negative 5.3 and x equals negative 1.7. All right? And then finally, number 4, x squared minus 4x minus 1. I'm going to click on that. We're going to go over here and we're going to get our 2 solutions. And you just click on them and Desmos does the work for you. And our vertex. So this is number 4. I'm going to graph my vertex first. Negative 2 or positive 2, negative 5. Axis of symmetry. Our solutions are negative 0.2 and oh yeah, I drew that on the wrong side. Negative 0.2 should be here, right? And positive 4.2. And then draw your parabola and write your answers at the bottom. X equals negative 0.2 and x equals positive 4.2. So hopefully that should be pretty easy, and submit me a picture when you're done. Honestly, if you guys want to make your picture, if you do have the worksheets like this, so I can see all 5 of your answers. Oh, I just showed you the answer to that one. Hopefully you didn't see that, but it's okay if you did. Have a great time, and please try to do your best.